There is something undeniably charming, right, about a handmade banner. Maybe it's paper pennants that you've strung up in a row or hand-stamped letters that give a vintage feel. But if you really want to make your words, your message pop, spell it out with puffy fabric letters. This simple sewing project takes any flat front and gives it dimension and personality. Emily Price is here to show us how to make this soft stitched statement piece. Hello, sister, how are you?
Good, how are you?
This is a funny full circle, and I can't even count how many times we're saying this right now. It's a blast from the past. These were popular when, and they're really trendy now.
Yes, it's so fun to see everything come back around eventually.
I know, it makes you feel a little bit old, not you, me.
Yes.
Anyway, where are you placing these puffy, cute letters?
Okay, these can be in a nursery.
Okay.
Or like on the crib is really cute, tied across the crib.
Like a permanent fixture.
Yes, or behind the crib, or just anywhere in the nursery, but they're also really fun for parties. So I have a happy birthday banner that you can string up and have it on your mantle or like an island with the party posts, but you can do this with anything.
This is so fun to see the different applications, and the fabric makes a big difference, right? If you go soft and floral, it becomes kind of that sweet nursery appearance, but with the bolder, more striking fabrics, I can see how it would be that party statement that you talked about. It probably doesn't take a lot of fabric, I imagine?
No, it takes very little fabric. So you could do, it depends on how many letters, but really it takes like a quarter of a fabric could make like 3 or 4 letters, so.
Okay, and you call this a beginner's project?
I would say it's beginner to intermediate.
Okay.
So if you're a beginner, it might just take a little bit more time.
Do you need a sewing machine?
No, so you can sew it, but you don't necessarily need a sewing machine.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna show you these two right here. This one is sewn, and I started stuffing it, but this one I just use hot glue on. But you could also use fabric glue or that. You just have to let it dry completely. So you do not need a sewing machine.
I was thinking even hand stitch, but
you could hand stitch it too.
Glue works even better.
Yeah, you could totally hand stitch it.
What's our time commitment with this project, Emily?
So don't be afraid. There is a little bit of a time commitment because there's a lot of steps. But really, I made this one in about like drawing the letters and cutting it out in about 20 minutes. I just haven't stuffed it. So that one probably took about an hour.
Okay.
So I know that's like a little bit of time, but put on a TV show and get to work.
Why do I think the bigger letters might be easier than the smaller letters?
They are easier.
Yeah, right?
They're way easier.
Because less fussing, less perfection required.
These ones, like these tiny little letters, just, I've only stuffed half of it, but it just takes a little bit more meticulous
They're more high
stuffing.
maintenance.
Yes.
Yes, less real estate. We have to be more particular.
Yes.
Okay, show us how you did this, our darling.
So this, you just take your 2 pieces of fabric, and I just flipped one so I could draw my letter. You can print out letters, but I just like freehanded it. So
you're brave. I was gonna ask about fonts or how we did that.
Yes, you could print out any font as long as it doesn't have like cursive. You don't really want that. But let's just do, this one, we'll just do it easy. So for an I, I just trace it, and you wanna make it really big. Like you can see my one back there is not as fat as you would like it to be, but I just did that. And you want it to be puffy, and you really, it doesn't matter. Like, you can mess up, whatever.
I was gonna say the imperfection becomes part of the charm.
Yes, and I kind of like to keep my lines curved.
Oh, okay.
I just think that's fun, which you don't have to. But
well, you're not gonna get a straight seam or a straight corner with stuffing anyway.
So I just think it's kind of fun to have like a little bit of that. So anyways, that would be like an I, but I did cut out an L here.
Okay.
And then if you're gonna sew, I just used my machine's like seam guide to like do a really small seam. But like to glue, like it's so easy. You just glue around the whole thing. You do want to make sure you let it dry, and then you can stuff it. But you want to just make sure it's cooled. So, and then we would go around the whole thing, and like I would leave like an opening so I could stuff it.
Sure. And talk to me about fabric selection. Do you find all fabrics are created equal? Is there a certain variety that works best for this project?
Really, you could use anything. I really like quilting cotton or like a lawn weight, which is a really lightweight fabric.
Okay.
But you could use pretty much anything you want, but I would say cotton is best.
And when we stuff, what's the firmness we're going for?
This is where you can truly decide however firm you want it.
Okay.
Like this one's a little bit tougher.
Yeah.
But you could let it be a little bit more floppy if you wanted.
If you're hanging, you could probably cut, and you care about positioning. I'm totally taken with the idea of doing this across a crib.
Yes.
Like that would be so fun, and you'd probably want maybe more of the stability.
Yes. And then I use like a knitting needle to kind of shove it in there.
Yeah.
And that makes it a lot easier.
They're so cute. Did you find that as you played with this project, there was a certain type of fabric design that you liked best?
Well, yes. Well, it was actually more just fun. I like to see what like speaks to me. So I'm like, what is going to be cute? So this is actually the fabric I did for a happy birthday banner.
Darling.
And so I just looked at what coordinated. And you don't have to do coordinating, but you could do all the same fabric. You could do different.
And then you did loops to string it up.
Yes. So this one I just did, fabric loops, but I also do have like velvet ribbon would be really cute.
Oh yeah, it would,
Like,
for another
whatever.
texture.
Yeah.
Another medium.
Yeah. So you could just string it up however. These ones are kind of skinny, so I would have probably done a little bit like thicker, but
So
you could just play with it however you want to.
The puffy fabric letters, maybe you saw it here first, maybe you're seeing it here again, but either way, the nursery application, darling. The party play would be so fun. Thank you for sharing the tutorial.
welcome.
Very simple, very easy to do,
Yes.
but fun in the creativity, how you can
Yes.
mix it up and adapt it for each occasion. Where can we find more projects from you, sister?
I am on Instagram. It's MB Price, EMB Price.
MB Price.
Yeah.
We'll link you over from our website so you can follow along and play at her party too.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.